Good morning, students. This is Shivanand Tiwari, and I am your science teacher. Welcome to the science class. Are you all excited for the lesson, student? Okay, very good. So let us start with the chapter then. Students, I will be asking few questions. Answer them accordingly. Students, observe this image and tell me what is Tom doing? Absolutely correct. He is cleaning the floor. So does he apply the force to clean the floor? Yes, he does apply force to clean the floor. Look at this picture. What is she doing? Very good. She is kicking the ball. What is she applying to kick the ball? Absolutely correct. She is applying force to kick the ball. Now look at this picture. What are they trying to do? The girl is trying to pull the door and the boy is pushing the door. So what are they applying to do this action? Absolutely correct. So they are applying force. Okay, students. So our daily life involves a lot of tasks where we need to pull or push and clean the objects and to change the direction of an object. Human beings use their body parts to apply force on a day-to-day basis. But Earth also applies force. That's why we all are stick to the surface of Earth and we all feel that someone is pulling us towards the surface, or we would have fly if we want to fly. Uh, the force of gravity between moon and earth, the earth applies force on the moon and hence moon revolve around the earth. Why only human beings and earth applies force? Even the ground on which the table is there and the table on which the pen rolls applies force. So students, besides knowing the concept and effect of force, we also need to understand about different types of force. So today, let us study about types of force in our chapter, force and types of force. Students, tell me what is the man trying to do? Absolutely correct. He is trying to lit the fire. How is the man trying to lit the fire? He is rubbing the stone. Okay, absolutely correct. Tell me which two surfaces are in contact? Yes, absolutely correct. The two surfaces of the stones are in contact. Okay. Now let us see this example. Tell me what do you observe in the image? Very nice. That ball is rolling down on the ground. Yes. Tell me uh, which two surfaces are in contact? Yes, the ball and the ground. Absolutely correct. Tell me why does the ball come to rest after some time? Very good. That means you are saying the speed after some time decreases and the ball comes to rest. Why does this speed decrease? Absolutely correct. Because of frictional force. Okay. Excellent, students. Now let's look at this example and tell me what is this picture about? That a person is drawing something on the piece of paper with the help of a pen. Okay. Which two surfaces come in contact when you draw or write? So the nib of pen and the piece of paper are in contact. So tell me, why do we get to see pencil marks on a paper? Absolutely correct, because of frictional force. So students, look at all these examples together And tell me what is common in all the above example with respect to the action performed between the two surfaces. Yes, the two surfaces were in contact when the action is being performed. When the man trying to lit the fire, the two surfaces are in contact. When the person is writing on the piece of paper, the two surfaces are in contact. And the ball and the ground, when it is rolling on the ground, the two surfaces are in contact. So let me tell you, these are the examples of frictional force. So students, define frictional force in your own word. Absolutely correct. So let us see the textbook definition. When two surfaces rub against each other, it gives rise to frictional force. Very nice. Now students, look at this picture and tell me what do you observe with respect to the direction of frictional force and the direction of motion. Yes, in the first pic, the frictional force in the upward direction and this is force in downward direction. The force in this direction, the force, the frictional force in this direction and the force in the opposite direction. The force is in this direction and the frictional force is in opposite direction. So what do you infer from all these examples? Excellent. That frictional force always acts against the direction of motion. Very nice, students. So this is a property of frictional force, that frictional force always acts against the direction of motion. So students, now let me tell you, uh, observe this particular image. What is he doing? He is cycling and he is applying a brake. Okay. So when a brake is applied while riding a bicycle, it stops after running a short distance. How does the brake work? Yes, students. Okay, tell me between which part is friction produced? Absolutely correct. So when he applies brake, so the rim of the wheel and the rubber of the brake comes in contact and the frictional force between two acts there and that reduces the speed of the moving cycle and cycle comes to rest. Very nice. And again when the brake is released and we pedal the cycle, it again start moving. Very nice. So in short, the force of friction can either be decreased or increased as desired. Am I making sense, students? Okay. So now let us see this example. Tell me, why is a wooden plank laid down for pulling out a car which is stuck in mud? Absolutely correct. To get the desired frictional force. So let me explain. A force of friction is generated between the wheel and the wooden plank laid down under the car. Hence, it can be pulled out from the mud. When the tire was in mud, the frictional force was not enough, so the tire was not moving ahead. It was thus spinning on the point where it is stuck. When we keep this wooden wood at under the tire, so the desired friction is generated and the car comes out. So here also we saw the force of friction can either be decreased or increased as desired. Now I want you all to observe this image. Okay, in this the image on the left side, boy is sleeping because of water present on the surface, and on the second image, boy is walking freely and he is not sleeping. So tell me, students, why does the boy sleep? Okay, because there is water present on the surface. So tell me which two surfaces were in contact? The feet of the boy and the Water. Absolutely correct. And tell me, in this image where boy is walking, why does the boy walking not sleep? Okay, because he is walking on the normal floor. So, which two surfaces are in contact? The feet of the boy and the surface uh, on which he is walking. So, what can we see? What can we say that uh, here where he is not sleeping, the frictional force must be greater, and here where it is sleeping, the frictional force must be lesser. So, students, force of friction is less between two smooth surfaces, and force of friction is greater between two rough surfaces. It is possible for us to walk on the ground only because of the frictional force. If there is no friction, we would slip and fall. For example, we are very likely to slip while walking on the wet floor or on a oily floor, or if there is a banana peel on the floor, if we keep our feet on that, we slip. Okay, students. So it's time to summarize whatever we have learned till now. So let me quickly share the screen. Okay, students. So what we saw today is when two surfaces rub against each other, it gives rise to frictional force. Example, matchstick rubbed against a matchbox, or it always acts against the direction of motion. Then we saw force of friction is less between two smooth surfaces. Example, walking on oily floor. And force of friction is greater between two rough surfaces. Example, running on the ground or walking on the ground. So students, it's time to check how much you have understood from the topic today. So let me ask you the questions. Yes, students, here is the first question. The friction of the ice floor as compared to ground is A, more, B, less. Absolutely correct, students. The friction of ice floor as compared to ground is less, and therefore we are most probably to skid on the ice floor. So as you all said, absolutely correct. Now let us move ahead. So students, two surfaces rub against each other, it gives rise to a frictional force. Is it true or false? Yes, true. So let me check. Yes, you all are absolutely correct. Now here is the last question. Tell me, why is powder sprinkled on the carom board while playing carom? Option is to reduce the friction or to increase the friction. Very good, students. So, uh, you know, you all must have seen this whenever you play this carom board game. So, when we hit the striker on the surface of the board, because of the frictional force, it does not move smoothly. And when we sprinkle some powder on the board, it moves very smoothly. Why it happens? It happens because after sprinkling the powder, the force of friction becomes less. So let me click on this. Yes, as you all said, it reduces the friction. So students, today we studied about the frictional force in detail. In our next class, we shall be studying about the remaining type of force in detail. Till then, take care. Thank you so much.